Hi, Kate.
Awesome. Hello. All right. So to answer your question that you just asked me, as far as like what I do and what I'd like to speak about, so I am a 15-year plus entrepreneur in brand strategy. My background is in design, and I actually met Paul as is he kind of representing me, I guess, as an author. My first time writing a book, and the book that I'm working on is called The Breakout Creative. And it's really about my, as I said, 15-year plus journey, kind of figuring it out as a creative in a highly competitive industry, figuring out ways to best package myself and become a marketable brand leader. So a lot of the work that I do is partnering with clients to essentially help them build a brand that they're proud of. And I love working in the leadership sector of things because that's truly, to me, where brand is built based on the foundation of the leaders that are running those companies. So, what I would love to talk to you about, because so much about what you do is in mindset, I would love to discuss that more and figuring out kind of how I utilize positive psychology tactics to kind of, I hate the word training, but to essentially kind of train and coach leaders into becoming brand leaders, which is really something that I'm very passionate about.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. So, what makes you passionate about this, what you do?
Yeah, so
Like,
as I said, I started.
yeah, like what is
Mhm.
what helped you to find your passion? Because it is really, I think that people who find their passion are the most happiest people, right? Like, because they
Yes.
wake up every morning and they're so happy just because they do what they love and love what they do. Yes,
Hmm.
that's why I'm always interested to know, like, how did you find your passion? What led you to that? Because it is not always that we are children and we already know what what we want to do. It is great. Sometimes it happens, but for most of people who I met, it was not that it was through searching and finding what is good working, what is not working, and then somehow following intuition and finally finding your way.
Yeah, absolutely. No, art has always been a part of my life. And I've used it, all through high school and early college to really, as a form of expression. So it was something that I used frequently to just draw. I just loved drawing, and it was very calming and fulfilling for me. And it wasn't until probably my second year in college where I realized that I could potentially turn art into something that was a career, which is where graphic design came in. And I loved psychology. So I started, really kind of getting into communications, which is where visual communication came in. So there was so much overlap in the things that I was interested in from an extracurricular standpoint, but also something that I wanted to apply to my studies. So I kind of lucked out and then I found art early in my life and something that was fulfilling. And I think it has a lot to do too with your parents and the people around you that are willing to support you and kind of let you pursue the things that bring you joy. And I was definitely in a very fortunate situation to have that with my family. And it was just a really fun process to kind of, go through this trial and error and figuring out what best was, my thing, right? Like what was my niche and my passion. And brand strategy evolved from my years as a designer, figuring out that there's more than just creating pretty things, right? Like you can design something that's really pretty, you can make a beautiful painting or draw something that's really amazing, but it was more about the story that was behind what was being created that mattered to me the most. So once I started digging into that and really kind of getting into the psychology part of it, that's where I found my gold, right? Like I just really enjoy that part of it. So like fascinated by human behavior and kind of how we perceive things. All of that is really what's part of me nurturing my passion. So I definitely consider myself one of the lucky ones to have found that early on,
Yes, amazing, amazing. Such a beautiful combination, art, design, and psychology.
right? Yeah.
Yes, this is really something very unique because, yes, because when it comes with psychology, when you know what is that person within, what is his strength, what is his genius, and what is his passion, and how to put it, combine it with art and design, that it will really become something unique. Yes, that will really reflect the essence of that human being.
Very true. And when it's an expression from an individual, right, like an artist to an audience or whoever is viewing it, it's definitely a vulnerable exchange, right? People are there to experience the art and kind of have their own interpretation reflected into the art. And, with design, it's such a overlooked art form in the sense that we're so used to seeing it day in and day out from all the products and services that we interact with on a daily basis. But the fact is that, brands have become part of our identity, and we use brands to self-identify with who we are and who we are becoming as people. So it's just really, really cool when you get down into the science of it, of how we kind of utilize these brands, and just the whole brand experience as a whole, to shape who we are. And that's the part that I really, really enjoy, is that human experience part of it.
Yeah, amazing. I really like this, what you do. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, because it is really something that helps to become, to have that outstanding brand. Yeah, because it
Mhm.
will be so unique as everyone is. And if we find that uniqueness and it really express it through art, and this is how people will resonate and they will say, wow, yeah, this is exactly what I want. Yeah, what I want.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And it's honestly one of the reasons too, and to give you a little bit more backstory on kind of my physical journey of where I've kind of lived. Originally being from New Orleans, South Louisiana in the US, and living in LA for about 6 years, and now living in London. I'm actually pursuing my grad degree in psychology of arts, neuroaesthetics, and creativity. So really, really doubling down on the psychology part of it. So I'm thrilled to start utilizing this research, qualitative and quantitative research background, to apply that to measuring brand and the impact of brand for business owners, as well as how that interacts with their target audience. So a lot of what I do, again, is very, very founded in psychology.
Wow, amazing, amazing. You see, I learned so much from you today. Oh, yes, that it is such like what can you repeat again? What is exact specialty? What is the subject which you study?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a long one. It's psychology of arts, neuroaesthetics, and creativity.
Wow.
Yeah. And neuroaesthetics is really just a fancy word of kind of saying how our brains interpret art. So neuro being neurology, aesthetics being, art and beauty. It's really kind of how we perceive and process art, from a visual, emotional, all of our senses types of input.
Amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so happy we met.
I know, same. I know. I can't wait to thank Paul.
Yeah, so I learned so much from you because my daughter actually also very creative, and she's 16, and
Hmm.
she is very, very creative. Yes, and she was thinking like how she wants also psychology, and she
Mm.
wants art and graphic design. So when you were speaking, I was just, wow, it is exactly what she has to do. So
Yeah, we'll
yeah.
send her my website and all the stuff. And if she's interested in it, I'd love to chat with her because, honestly, that's what my book is about. My book is helping people kind of figure out their path and in utilizing a creative industry, right? So how do you become the most sellable, the most marketable version of yourself while also pursuing something that fulfills you? That's a win-win, right? So I think that's the real cool part of what I do.
Yeah, I think you will be role model for her, really.
I love it.
Yes, yes, so good, so good. Yes, so let's speak a little bit about branding itself. Why you think that branding is important? Because many people start business, they find their passion and they start business from marketing, yes, just from creating something, learning how to sell their products, creating their courses, and they think maybe that I will do branding later when my business establishes. So what is your opinion about this? Why you think that uh, do you think that uh, everything should start from branding, from positioning yourself, and then on that base doing the rest?
Yeah, that's an absolutely wonderful question. And I do think that I'll kind of answer it in two parts. So, your first question being, do I think a lot of business owners kind of leave branding for the last step? I do because I feel like it's still a very misunderstood term. I think we hear the word brand a lot and the idea of brand or branding. And, branding is the act of continuing to build your brand, right? Like you may start a business, come out with an initial brand, which a lot of people just immediately associate with your visuals, right? Like what your logo looks like, your packaging looks like that. But branding is the act of, okay, what are you doing to measure how the audience feels about it? What are you doing to, gather that feedback and put it to use? So what's your strategy? I think so many people focus on the business strategy, but forget the brand strategy because they jump right into marketing and they say, okay, we have a business, we have a product and a service that we need to sell. How are we going to get it out there? So they skip that very important part about why people would care about their product or service, right? So branding to me is by far the most important, and I know I'm quite biased, but I think that any company, let's say you're a solopreneur who has an idea for a brand or a company, let's say, and you don't have a name yet, you're not quite sure how to package it yet. The first step would be figuring out, okay, well, what is it about what I can offer that someone would want to purchase, right? What value can I offer that someone wants to be a part of? And it really starts with shaping the person first, because every person that's a part of a brand adds a layer to the experience. And that first level is the leader, right? The person who comes up with it, that visionary. And if you don't have a way to sell that or package that in a way that resonates with other people, then you haven't necessarily been able to create your first customer. So the idea of business being this exchange of, here's a product or service for some type of monetary value, there's a miss there. There's a disconnect because they haven't quite figured out what it means to them yet. And that's where branding really comes in. It creates that meaning. And I think business owners are still figuring that out. They're still trying to figure out what brand really means to their business and how to actually nurture it to continue it through their whole brand strategy and business strategy. And that's something that I'm obviously very passionate about. I love working with companies, C-suite level employees, CEOs, all of that, to kind of help them see that brand is really this unifying thread through everything that they do. And it's a missed opportunity if it's not something that they're nurturing regularly.
Mhm. Yes, yes, so good, so good. I think everyone needs your services. It
Yes.
And just yesterday I had one online event, and we spoke about the rules about how to get rich from the book Science of Getting Rich. I love this book. And
Yeah.
and it is said there that you become rich by doing three things. The first one, by finding what is in really need in the market, like what is demand, and
Hmm.
what you love to do that is in demand. Yes, that what is the need in the market. The second thing is to uh, be able to do it. And the third thing is to become the person who is difficult to be replaced,
Yes.
to make it difficult to replace you. It means that when you find your passion, you love what you do something that really is in demand and need in the market. And then because you love it, you are passionate about it, you do it so good that it is difficult to replace you. Yes, this
Hmm.
is how you become rich. So when you focus on providing value and creating something unique, bringing those talents and gifts, yeah, your genius on the surface, and this is how you become that unreplaceable person. Yes, and this is how people are happy to pay you because you do something really valuable. Yes, so
Yes.
you never need to think about money anymore when you do what you love.
Exactly. It's something that naturally kind of is a byproduct, right? Like it's not something that becomes it's not the goal anymore. It's the byproduct. The goal is the happiness and the fulfillment in what you do. And at the end of the day, it's so simple. I just want to help people bring their visions to life. That's it. And when you filter that one piece out of it, it's like I'm here for you. I'm here to make sure that what you want to build is a reality, and it's founded in something that's authentically connected to who you are and the person that you want to be. And that's where the value really is, right? It's like all the things that we work on together is really based on pulling that vision out and taking something that's typically very complex, right? Like people's 5, 10 year visions are extremely complex, and to simplify it in a way that's, marketable and packaged. So that's what's so fun about branding to me.
Yes, exactly. So now I just thought about the effortless way. Sometimes when I put the title of my event, like something, for example, achieve success effortless, and I receive the some comments that or if it is effortlessly, it doesn't worth my attention. I mean that some people think that to have something like really achieve your big goals, it should be hard work, right?
Yeah.
And they misunderstand what means effortlessly. Yes, effortlessly doesn't mean that you just stay in the sofa and just don't do anything and everything comes. No, effortless,
Yeah.
exactly what we just discussed, that effortlessly means that you really do something that makes you inspired. Yes, you love what you do. You don't even consider the time. Yes, it is
Mhm.
not like when you are doing hard work and you just look at the time and say, oh, when it time finishes. Yeah, when you work with somebody and you hate your job, this is what usually happens.
Yes.
Yes. So effortless way, it is doing really things which you love to do and do them in according to the laws. Yes, like to according to the all great energy, bringing value to people, having good attitude, having good discipline. Yes, having good belief system, which is
Mhm.
empowering, and this all together makes this process effortless. Yes, when you don't push something that you are not that person, and you want to push something that you are not, and that's why you never will attract it. Yes, but becoming that person first, yet doing this inner work and grow to that level where your
Yes. Yeah.
goal is, you become the magnet to start attracting everything, components, all the ingredients of your success towards you. And this is what effortless way mean.
I could not agree more. I really do. And I think the key word there is attraction. I think when you shift your perspective from focusing on the end result and focusing on the journey to get there, you fall in love with the process. And every single day is an opportunity to further, the reaching of your goals, right? It's not the I have to start today and end today with reaching that goal. It's 1% each time, right? Which is it's not, unheard of. James Clear said that in his books, and several other people talk about 1% better every day, but it's true. And when you get to that point, then that progress becomes something that that's the hard work, right? Is falling in love with the progress. And when you do that, everything else is off the table. Like the focus is shifted. So yes, things start attracting to you, right? They just start naturally coming to you. And then that's when, to me, you've reached that point of you're grounded in the right area, right? Like you found the thing that needs to be kind of the goal for you, and that's the journey itself, not the end product. And once you get to that perspective, it's a completely different game that you're playing.
Yes, exactly. And also, let's speak a little bit about marketing. So,
Sure.
what do you think for people who want to take their business to next level? Yes, like to really shift their results. What do you think they should focus on in the marketing field?
Yeah, so it definitely depends on the brand. And I know that's a very open-ended way of saying it, but I think each brand, just like a person, has a personality, and it has a different way of selling to their market, right? So depending on what that looks like, whether you're, let's say, something that's more corporate facing, like an IBM, or something that's a little bit more consumer facing, which is like Liquid Death. There's a different marketing plan or strategy or campaign that would appeal to that audience type. So with that being said, it would definitely be something that you would have to analyze. Okay, well, what's the best way to reach them in terms of messaging and where they are? So I think for something like Liquid Death, doing experiential marketing events where Liquid Death is, all about creating the experience and that cool factor, things like that, it makes it really fun, right? And it creates a memorable experience. That's a great way to market a brand, which to me is that kind of brand slash marketing appeal. But you also have companies that want to focus more on the feature set, more on the things that they offer in terms of differentiators from their competitors. And that also works depending on what someone's looking for. So if they're, on the search for a specific type of let's say an electronic that has certain features, then they're gonna be swayed in that direction. But it all comes down to the value that's being exchanged outside of the actual transaction. So, what is being offered outside of just the product or the service that they're being sold? what is the customer experience like? What are they going to, kind of leave behind as a review? So every single interaction should be focused on that when it comes to marketing, because every touch point is an opportunity to make an impression. It's not just whether or not they click on a campaign, ad or get an email and respond. There's always an opportunity. So I think figuring out, if brands are looking for a next step and best way to kind of reach the market in that marketing strategy is identifying all the touch points and opportunities that you have to reach a customer and figuring out how you can add an additional layer of value to each one of those. That to me is really founded marketing, or I should say grounded marketing in brand, that also gives its way into a conversion success rate, let's say, for a marketing campaign.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. And about branding, if people want to start branding, yeah, like create really powerful brand, what should be the steps?
Oh, big question. I think with anything, I'm going to say they need to start with themselves. We talked about it earlier as far as doing the inner work, whether you are the leader of a company or a leader of a team. You could be on a team of 100 people. Every company needs to have brand champions. And in order to become a brand champion, you have to know who you are, why you're connected to that company, right? So what values do you align on? What are the intentions that you want to get in terms of an exchange from an audience to the brand? Really figuring out your place in that brand, right? So what is your identity and how you relate to that company? Um, that has to happen on the inside first, because when internally you have everything, all your ducks in a row, let's say, right? You have really solid internal branding and the employees represent you well. You're not really having to sell very much, because when you think about how word of mouth travels, if you have happy employees, they're talking about how much they love their job. They're, wanting to recruit other people to join them. It's easy to sell the products because people are happy to use them. So all of that kind of comes naturally when you have a really solid internal brand. So the external branding is almost secondary at that point. You just need to make sure that you look the part, right? So clean, very professional branding, and that's pretty much. I want to say it sounds easy, but it's really the hard work is really doing the inner work. There's a lot of there's a lot of hurdles that you have to jump through in order to do that, and that scares a lot of people. It leaves themselves very vulnerable for a bit, and I think shaping your own identity is something that I've spent the last 10 years of my life doing on my own. But when it comes to applying that to a brand, it's a challenge. It's definitely a challenge.
Yeah, that's why I think everyone who listen our episode would like to connect with you.
Yeah, no, I'd love to. I'd love to. And I'm releasing a course on December 12th, actually. So my company name is called Build Smart Brands, and the course is all about the Smart Brand Method. And the Smart Brand Method is being simple, mindful, authentic, relatable, and transformative, and how you essentially build that inside of your brand. So it's a really cool course. I'm super excited about it. I can't wait to actually release it. And I think it's going to be able to help a lot of people who, let's say, can't work with me one-on-one. As I know, I'm just one person and time is only is limited. But I think being able to have access to something like this, that they can kind of, work through the videos, all of the exercises. It's something like 40 plus exercises and frameworks that I've worked on over the last 15 years in business. It would be very helpful to have business owners take themselves through this. And I also, in tandem to that, developed a quiz that could be helpful as well, which I'd love to share with you. It's a very short quiz, I think like 5, 8 minutes, but it helps self-identify which category a person falls in within their brand. So it kind of shows them, here are the areas that you can work on, the steps that you can take to improve. And if you really want to kind of have more of a hands-on experience, then the option is to take the course. So there's a few stepped processes that I have for offering value outside of just working with me one-on-one.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much, Kelly. So we can put the link for the test below this video, and
Yeah,
everybody can do it and find what is the
that'd be
best
awesome.
way to branding.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, thank you so much, Kelly, for being an amazing guest today. And is there anything that you would like to say before we wrap up this episode?
No, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, I look forward to our next conversation.
Yeah, you're most welcome, and have a great day.
Yes.